The Great Salt Lake provides significant benefits to the state of Utah, from ecological to environmental, and from economic to enjoyment. To preserve this important asset to the State Senate and House have advanced several pieces of legislation that target increasing inflows of water to the lake. In order for this to move forward, a greater understanding of the hydrology of the Great Salt Lake is needed. To help with this process, the legislature has commissioned the Utah Division of Water Rights with installing a number of new measurement devices on tributaries throughout the lake's watershed. Assistant State Engineer Ross Hansen, who oversees field services, is directing this effort. He says it's important to make sure any water that gets saved upstream and is allocated to the Great Salt Lake actually makes it to the lake.
The idea is that if water is going to be saved by a particular user, either by eliminating a particular use of water or by becoming more efficient in the use of water, the idea would be to be able to get that water that was saved after determining what water was saved, be able to get that saved water to the Great Salt Lake. And in order to do that, we have to have accurate measuring devices both on the diversions and in the stream.
Engineering manager Aaron Hunt has spent the last year installing more than 20 new stream gauges throughout the Great Salt Lake watershed. He says these gauges give analysts a real-time look at water flowing towards the lake.
On site at the stream or canal or diversion, there is a measuring device that measures the flow of water, and then we have a sensor that will record the level or the flow depending on what we're measuring at that site, and then we log that data on a data logger there, and then we have some sort of way to transmit that data back to our database and website at the Division of Water Rights.
That data is then available to river commissioners, to engineers at the Division of Water Rights, to researchers, to water users, and to the general public. Although the measuring devices themselves are evolving, the concept of distributing water in any system stretches back more than a century. Distributing water is done by utilizing what is known as the mass balance equation, which, in its simplest form, says that the total inflow in a system is equal to the total outflow plus any change in storage. Knowing all variables in the mass balance equation helps those who oversee water distribution in the state, such as river commissioners, determine how much water is available in any system in order to fairly apportion it based on water right priority. Ross says these new devices provide additional information to fill in the missing variables in the equation.
It's putting in those consonants and whatnot inside of that equation so that we can actually say, okay, we know what we have and we know how to distribute it by priority to the users. And without that, we can't. And so what's filling in that equation? Those measuring devices.
Aaron says river commissioners throughout the watershed are already using this data in their work.
Obviously for the commissioners, it helps them and allows them to do their job more thoroughly and gives them information that they need to do their job. And typically water users in the community are happy to have it too, because it also helps them because they can verify that they're getting what they're entitled to and using their water right to the full extent, and also it helps us to make sure they're not taking more than they should.
Ross says, as a result, when water is saved by a particular user, such as a farmer, and that water is then allocated to the Great Salt Lake, it can be measured and shepherded to the Great Salt Lake.
All of these measuring devices go to helping us say, okay, we know how much water that person was using on that 10 acres. And now with these measuring devices and satisfying that mass balance equation, we know that person got this much in priority, this diversion got this much in priority, and we've got this much in the channel from that elimination of that use up there that can continue on down.
The new gauges also help water managers to find losses in the system and improve efficiency in delivering water. Aaron says the current funding allows for a total of 30 new gauges, but this is likely just the beginning.
We're going to be at it for a long time, and continued funding is going to make sure that we're doing more in the future. So I feel like the trend is towards this technology and having more automated stream gauges and automated data coming in so that we can manage our water better and make good decisions on how to manage it. And yeah, I don't see it slowing down. I see it continuing on.